Being the chosen one is a concept that has fascinated humanity for centuries. From ancient texts to modern stories, there's something about the idea of one individual being singled out for greatness, for a purpose beyond the ordinary that captivates our imagination. But what does it really mean to be chosen? Is it a blessing, a gift of sorts, or is it a burden too heavy for most to bear? When we think about the chosen ones, we often imagine people who possess extraordinary talents, wisdom, or insights. We assume they are uniquely qualified to lead, to guide, to inspire, but we rarely stop to consider the weight of this responsibility. Imagine, for a moment, being told that your life is no longer just your own, that you have been selected for a purpose greater than yourself. How would you feel? There's a part of you that might feel honored, even excited. After all, being chosen means you're special, right? It means you're seen as someone capable of fulfilling a destiny that others cannot. But here's the deeper truth. With every gift comes a price, and with every blessing there is a curse. Being chosen sets you apart, but it also isolates you. It pushes you to the edge of what is comfortable, and often into the unknown.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
You see, being chosen isn't just about recognition. It's about sacrifice. It's about letting go of the life you thought you would live, the simplicity of blending in and embracing something far more complex. Have you ever thought about what you would have to give up to fulfill a higher calling? You might lose your sense of normalcy, your relationships might change, and people may begin to see you differently. And that's just the beginning. The world will project its expectations onto you. It will demand that you live up to the narrative of being special, of being above the ordinary. But what happens when you feel uncertain, afraid, or even unworthy? What happens when you don't feel like the chosen one at all? This is the paradox. The very thing that makes you special can also make you feel deeply alone. You are expected to rise, to lead, to shine, yet inside, you may struggle with doubt, with fear, with the same human insecurities that everyone else experiences. Being chosen is not a destination, it's a journey. And this journey is filled with trials, both internal and external. The external trials are easy to see. People will challenge you. Circumstances will test you. But the internal trials, those are the ones that can break you. The feeling of imposter syndrome, the constant questioning of whether you truly have what it takes, whether you deserve the title of chosen. It's enough to drive some into isolation, to retreat from the very calling that once seemed so alluring. So I ask you now, if you were chosen for something greater, would you embrace it, knowing the sacrifices you would have to make? Would you be willing to walk the path, even if it meant walking it alone at times? The answer might seem obvious at first. Who wouldn't want to be special? But when you dive deeper, you begin to see the complexities, the layers that come with such a title. And it's here in this space of reflection that you start to understand why being chosen is both a gift and a curse. As we continue to explore the idea of being a chosen one, it becomes clear that isolation is a key theme. Why is it that those who are chosen so often find themselves standing apart from others? Why does greatness so often come with loneliness? To answer these questions, we need to look at the nature of being chosen. When you are selected for something greater, it implies that you are in some way different. You see the world through a lens that others may not, and because of this, your experiences become harder to share. How do you explain to someone what it feels like to carry the weight of a destiny that you never asked for? How do you convey the depth of responsibility that you feel when others are looking to you for guidance, for answers? This is the curse of the chosen one. While the world celebrates your uniqueness, your abilities, and your potential, you are left to grapple with the fact that in this journey, very few can truly walk alongside you. Even those who love you may not fully understand what you are going through. They may see the outer manifestations of your greatness, the achievements, the accolades, but they may never fully grasp the inner turmoil, the nights of doubt, the moments when you question everything. And then there's the pressure. The pressure to live up to the expectations of being chosen. You may start to feel like you can't fail, like every step you take must be in alignment with the path that has been laid out for you. This can be suffocating. When you're constantly being watched, judged, and evaluated, where do you go for peace? Where do you find solace? I think about it. When was the last time you felt truly seen for who you are, without the title, without the expectations? For the chosen one, it can feel as though people only see the role you play, not the person behind it. And this is where the curse deepens. You start to hide parts of yourself, the vulnerable parts, the human parts, because you fear that revealing them would diminish your image as the chosen one. You feel like you must always be strong, always be wise, always be ahead of the curve, but that's not sustainable. What happens when the chosen one breaks? When the weight becomes too much? Do you think that the world would forgive you for being human, for faltering under the pressure? Or would it turn its back, disappointed that you didn't live up to the myth that it created around you? It's a harsh reality, but it's one that many chosen ones face. You are expected to be more than human, to rise above the ordinary struggles that others face. But the truth is, you are still human. You still feel pain. You still have moments of weakness. And in those moments, the isolation can feel crushing. You might start to wonder if being chosen was ever really a gift at all. In the midst of the isolation, there is still something that drives the chosen one forward: purpose. This is the gift, the light in the darkness, that keeps you moving even when the path is difficult. Purpose gives meaning to the sacrifices, it gives context to the struggles, and it offers a sense of direction when everything else feels uncertain. But purpose, too, can be a double-edged sword. When your life is driven by a higher purpose, it can be both liberating and confining. On one hand, you have clarity. You know what you're here to do, and that knowledge can be incredibly empowering. You have a reason to wake up every day, a mission that propels you forward. In a world where so many are lost, searching for meaning, you have found yours. Yet, at the same time, purpose can become a prison. What happens when your purpose starts to feel like a cage? When you feel trapped by the very thing that once gave you freedom? This is something that many chosen ones experience. The purpose that once brought joy and fulfillment can start to feel like an obligation, a duty that you can't escape. The higher the stakes, the more pressure you feel to stay on course, to never deviate, to never fail. Have you ever felt trapped by your own purpose? Like you couldn't walk away, even if you wanted to? This is one of the curses of being chosen. While others may have the freedom to explore different paths, to change their minds, you feel bound to your destiny. You feel like you don't have the luxury of choice. And that can be a heavy burden to carry. But purpose is also what gives the chosen one their strength. When everything else falls away, when the isolation becomes too much, purpose is what grounds you. It reminds you why you were chosen in the first place. It connects you to something greater than yourself, something that transcends the day-to-day struggles and challenges. And in that connection, you find meaning. So, where does this leave us? Is being a chosen one truly a gift, or is it a curse? The answer, like many truths in life, exists in the tension between both. It's not simply one or the other, it's both. It's a paradox, a duality that you must learn to accept and live with. To be chosen is to walk the tightrope between light and shadow, between joy and suffering, and to understand that these two forces are inseparable. The gift of being chosen lies in the opportunity to make an impact, to fulfill a purpose that is uniquely yours. Few people ever experience the clarity of knowing why they are here, of feeling connected to a mission that transcends their individual life. Being chosen gives you that clarity. It gives you a sense of meaning, a reason to exist beyond the mundane. Every decision, every action, every step you take feels as though it's pushing you closer to the fulfillment of a higher calling. And in that, there is tremendous power and fulfillment. You are no longer wandering aimlessly. You are on a path. But the curse is always present, silently woven into the same fabric. It's in the isolation, in the loneliness that comes from having to walk a path that few understand. It's in the pressures and expectations placed upon you not just by others, but by the role itself. The world will often see your greatness, but not your struggles. You may be celebrated for your achievements, but your inner battles will remain unseen, and that can create deep feelings of alienation. When everyone looks to you for answers, who do you turn to when you are the one in need of guidance? There's a heaviness in this paradox. The more you rise, the more you achieve, the more you are expected to continue rising, to continue achieving. The higher you climb, the farther you can fall. And the fall is what many fear. It's the fear of not living up to the expectations of being chosen, the fear of failure, of being exposed as imperfect. But here's where the true wisdom comes in. Being chosen was never about being perfect. The real essence of being chosen is not in doing everything right, but in being willing to embrace the journey fully, both the light and the dark. The gift is in your willingness to step forward, to accept the responsibility, even though you know the weight that comes with it. It's about having the courage to face the challenges, to endure the sacrifices, and to keep moving forward, even when the path feels impossible. How do you navigate this paradox? You learn over time to live with both the gift and the curse. You stop expecting the journey to be easy or straightforward. Instead, you embrace the complexity of it. You understand that the challenges are part of the growth, that the isolation is part of the wisdom, and that the pressure is part of the transformation. The curse is not something to be avoided, it is something to be integrated. It sharpens you, it deepens your understanding of yourself and the world around you. In the end, being chosen is not about achieving some level of perfection or completing a flawless mission. It's about being willing to step into the unknown, willing to face the darkness, willing to embrace both the gift and the curse. It's about understanding that the journey is not about the destination, it's about the transformation that happens along the way. So, I ask you, if you were chosen, would you accept the gift, knowing that the curse comes with it? Would you step into your purpose, even if it meant walking a lonely path, even if it meant sacrificing parts of yourself you hold dear? Only you can decide. The paradox of being chosen is one that each of us must resolve in our own hearts. And in that resolution, we find not just our purpose, but our true selves.